Okay, I do believe we are live. So I'm going to go on my second screen. Interestingly, I can see myself on two screens now, which is fun. Cool. So let's get this party started. So first I'm going to maybe ask Jacob if you can tell me if you can see everything, if everything's correct, if everything's working fine. That'd be helpful. I do think there's a couple of seconds delay, so I'll wait a couple of seconds just to see if everything's going okay. Ooh, typing. I'm live, perfect. Okay, cool. Welcome everyone. I don't know if many people of you are watching, although I'm going to monitor it on the right. Obviously I have a second screen on the right showing me what's going on. But yeah, hopefully this is all looking good. I have my right hand man, Mr. Jacob, telling me or talking in my ears, letting me know if everything's working properly. So what I'm going to do is very quickly tell the the ubisend followers on Twitter that we're live, and then we're going to get this started. So what I think I'll do is I'll basically, for this session and for the foreseeable future, so for the foreseeable next sessions, it's basically, I'm going to be a bit naughty, and there's a task that I need to do for work, which is essentially building a bot for demo purposes. So obviously run demos quite frequently for customers, for partners, and obviously my team does that quite a lot as well. And I think I could really build a really cool bot to really display some of the new features we have and all that sort of stuff. And so what I'm attempting to do with this session is essentially I'm just going to work head down, kind of head down. I'll work, keep an eye on the chat and everything, but essentially with the purpose of just building something. That's the purpose. And what I'd like to achieve here is that basically my door is open, so to speak. Obviously, with COVID, my door is not open, but with YouTube, my door is very much open. So you can basically just come in, watch me work, maybe learn from me if you'd like to build bots as well, and maybe just ask questions about the different features that we have within the ubisend platform, see how everything works. And if no one asks any question, I'll just be working, and if people ask questions, I'll pause at any time. So that's really the purpose of all of this. So, all right, so I had a little think about what I'd like to build, and I was thinking about doing something around customer service. So a lot of our customers are obviously either companies that have a lot of customers inquiries or partners who have customers who deal with a lot of inquiries. And in general, anyway, customer service is quite a typical use case for chatbots anyway. And so what I was thinking of doing is basically build a bot around customer service. Now, I didn't want this to be too boring for myself and for you guys, and so what I've decided to do is I'm going to do basically a customer servicing bot, which is going to answer loads and loads of FAQs and do other things around a topic that I quite like, which is esports and gaming. There's one game that I particularly like, which is called Csgo. Hopefully maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. It's basically an online shooter game with loads of leagues and events, and it's very big. It's, I think, the main or the second biggest online game in the world, with loads of professional gamers. And either way, there's loads of events around this game, and one of them is the Blast Premier events. So Blast Premiers are basically worldwide events. They typically happen in real life, so people can go and sit and watch your favorite player's game on stage, and it's quite usually obviously quite big. Obviously in the last year that hasn't happened. Everything has been happening online, which is fairly boring. But essentially what I'd like to do is I navigated the website a little bit, and as you can see, they have obviously a homepage, and they have giveaways. They have Premier, which is their big league. They have a leaderboard which shows the different rankings of the different teams on the tournaments, and then they have Watch, which is just a series of links to the live streams of the games when the events are happening, and then they have events. And so as you can see, there's loads and loads of events here. They have a spring showdown that's happening, I think, right now. I think that's happening this weekend. Maybe the finals are this weekend. I'm not quite sure. But as you can see, there's basically an event every 6 months or so. Spring, fall, etc. They have loads of news. They have jobs. They have a shop, so that's quite interesting for customer service as well. And then they have obviously quite a bit of presence on social media. And so what I'm going to try and do is basically build a bot for Blast. So if we go back here into the ubisend platform, what I've done is basically I've just created a brand new account. And so what I'm going to do first is do a bit of, I guess, what do you call it? Just not really design, but you know what I mean. A bit of work on how this actually looks. And so what I can do here is I can just go into the specific users and just change the logo. So now I've had a little play around before starting this. I was getting a bit excited. And so what I can just do is basically add a logo here. So this is going to be probably the first step to creating a bot here. Second step I'm now going to do is, obviously this ubisend platform is a chatbot platform that can cater for anyone. And so what I have here is a brand new install of the platform. And so all of the colors, all of the copy that you can see here, it says customer service demo bot, so it's not very exciting. It's all pink, which is basically the ubisend pink. So if I go on ubisend here, so yeah, it's this pink color here, which we obviously really like, but you know, Blast are blue, so we need to change that. So that's going to be probably the second thing I'm going to do. And then the third thing I'm going to do is I've started a little plan. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but I started a little plan on paper, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is plan as little as I can before running these sessions, so that we can basically work on this together. I don't want to be prepared for this. I want to work through this with you. I want to see what's going on when I actually get stuck. I want this to be as raw as possible. And so, okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously talk with you guys and share my thoughts out loud about what I'd really like to achieve with this bot. So obviously it needs to be customer service. So it needs to answer questions. It needs to have a purpose. It needs to have what I like to call a one true goal. And for this one, I think answering questions around things like, so I wrote this down earlier, so questions around events. So obviously, if I have to imagine that people landing on this page or going on Blast's Twitter accounts or sending them an email will basically be like, when's the next event? Who's playing in the next event? Can I attend the next event? What are the COVID rules around the next event, etc., etc. What's the cost of attending an event, and so on. Where can I find the stream? That sort of stuff. So that's going to be probably the first step of the first set of FAQs I'm going to create. I'm going to do probably FAQs. I'm going to teach my bot to answer questions around the themes. So if I navigate to this page here, you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12 teams that are part of this this particular circuit. And so each of them probably has, each of them has a bit of description about the players, where they're from, that sort of stuff. So I can probably create some cool stuff around that, which is going to answer some questions for people. I'm going to do, so there's also ranking. So as you can see here, Australis are number 1 in the world for them. My internet is struggling a little bit, but hopefully that's not cut. So they're number 1 in the world, so we can probably do some sort of ranking stuff as well. This is going to change all the time, so we're going to get to maybe APIs and things like that later on as well. So they also host giveaways, so that's going to be an interesting one, I think. It seems like they host giveaways using Gleam, which is a fairly well-known giveaway tool. And as you can see, I've searched this before. There's an API for Gleam. So when we get to this, there might be an opportunity for us to play around with APIs and seeing how we can maybe resurface this sort of card in the bot, or at least do something with it. Apparently this one's ended, so that's a bit unfortunate. We won't be able to do anything with this one, but we can at least prepare a little bit for it. And then the last stuff I wanted to do, the last thing I had thought of is they obviously have, you can sign up for all sorts of things. So you can sign up to get, I guess, news, cool prizes, exclusive content, etc., etc. And so they have a pretty extensive thing here, a form, which we can turn into a conversation onto the bot as well. So I'm probably going to do something with that as well, which could be quite fun. And then last thing I want to do is, because this is customer service, and this might not fit really Blast specifically because I don't see that they have that anywhere, is I'm going to do some things around live chat. So if they have some staff that can answer questions like, I don't know, they have a shop, so let's see, they have a shop with loads of items and things. So if they could have a person on the other end of the conversation that could jump in and give them recommendations on products and things like that when the user is really lost, then we could use the ubisend platform's live chat features to also do that. So okay, let's have a little tour of the platform and see what we can do then. So obviously ubisend.com, you can go and have a look at all of this. The platform is quite well described, all of it in here. We're actually changing the features stuff, so that's going to go live soonish. Because we have loads of use cases that you can go and have a look at as well. Maybe Jacob, I don't know if you're still listening, but you could drop the link to this in the description. Okay, I hear that there's a background noise. Unfortunately, it is a chainsaw. I have a neighbor who's working on the roof of their little shed, and I don't know what they're doing, but it's been making noises for a little while. Hopefully you can still hear me. Jacob, just let me know if you can actually still hear me. Quite all right. Okay, so yeah, I was doing a little tour of the ubisend website. So you can find loads of use cases that you could actually start building here. As you can see, there's loads and loads of stuff. I'm not going to go through all of this because basically the process, the purpose of the ubisend platform is that it's super extensible. And so that really allows me to create a bot for Blast in a few hours, but it also allows you to create a bot for maybe your internal HR staff or anything else, so you can really do all of this. So okay, I'm not going to bore you with navigating my website or our website. You can do this by yourself. So if you'd like to do that, just go to ubisend.com. All right, cool. Let's have a little look at setting things up. Okay, so I've set up an account here. The first thing I might want to do is, the name is fine. I might keep it for this because it's not really, it's not going to be really the Blast Premier chatbot or account, so to speak. But I can go into the channel settings, and one of the things I want to do is figure out where I want to put this bot. So my inclination is always to put a bot initially on the website unless proven otherwise. So unless Blast Premier have a bunch of inquiries going through their Facebook Messenger or another channel here. As you can see, there's loads and loads of channels, so I could turn any of these on, which could be quite fun. But I'm not going to do that. I think what I'm going to do is at least build it on the Converse widget, and then eventually I might turn it on to other channels if I want to. I obviously don't have access to the Blast's Facebook page, so I can't do that. But if I wanted to, I could just activate this in a few short clicks. So what I think I'll do is I'll use just a Converse widget. So for those of you who don't know, the Converse widget is this little widget here on the bottom right. As you can see it, we have it on our website. And so it's literally what you'd expect to see basically. We also have an embedded page, an embedded bot, which we could put on literally on the page, at any place on the page, and then we have a full page bot with which as you can see here is basically an HTML, an entire page HTML page, and then if you put this on your website, you can basically go to that page and the bot takes the entire screen. So we can have a play with that as well. But I think for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the Converse widget. And so what I want to do here, as you can see, the Converse here is, well, first of all, it's pink, so I need to change that. Second of all, it says customer service demo bot, so that's not very pretty. And also it doesn't have any logo or anything like that. Okay, so I can go and change these things. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a logo. Okay, successful, perfect. So we have a logo here now in the bottom right, as you can see, so that's quite good. I do want to demo, I do want to have the name of the bot displayed, but it's not very pretty. Blast Premier, can I call this? I think they call it like this, Blast Premier. So I can't think of anything more exciting to name this for now. So I'm just going to save this for now. Alright, so now this is the right name, it has the right logo. I wonder if I should show the logo there. That's quite nice, I think. That's quite cool. Okay, so next thing I need to do is obviously work a little bit on the colors. So, okay, so we have a few things here that we can do. The first thing I can do is if I close this, basically here you can see that the Converse widget has this title, which we use on the ubisend bot as well. It's right here. So hey, I'm ubibot. You can talk to me about chatbots, development services, and ubisend in general. Let's chat. So obviously this gives a little bit of information to the user about what this bot is going to be about. And so here, what I want to do is obviously this one says, by default it says you can talk to me about stuff, which is not very specific. So I'm going to do welcome last premiere bot. Okay, and then what is this bot going to be able to talk about? So I think the key to this bit of the of your build is that you want to be quite descriptive. Although chatbots are becoming more and more common, people still need a bit of a direction to get into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically tell them or tell users what they can talk to us about. Talk to me to learn about our events. What did I say earlier? Our teams, our giveaways, and more. All right, cool. So this obviously welcomes the user. This is almost a splash screen before heading into the actual bot, so that's quite good. You should use it because you'll need everything you can to basically guide the user in the right direction. Your bots tend to attract people because they're really helpful. They're really easy to use. They're very conversational. But then typically if someone lands here and they don't know what to say, they don't know what to ask, they'll be left to their own device, and this is very dangerous for your bot. So what you want to do is provide some context for them. So I'm gonna save this. I think that's quite good. Alright, cool. What else can I do? So obviously this pink color, I love it. It's the ubisend color, but it's not gonna really work with Blast, is it? So the text color I think is good. So this is the banner setting. So this is this bit. So all of this is, what if I change this? So you can see that I can change this gradient. So it goes from start color, which is top left, to the bottom right. So I can change that as well and make something very ugly like this. So if I was completely psychotic, I could do this, which is actually not far off their colors on some stuff, funnily enough. So if I go on the YouTube channel, actually it's all blue here at the moment, but I've seen this before where they have, they have really weird colors like that, some sort of gradients every now and then, but I personally don't like it. So Blast, if anyone's watching, sorry, but I don't like it. The other thing I could do is obviously I could just have the same color on both start and end of the gradient, which would obviously allow me to have a full color here. So what I'll do is I'll try and figure out what the blue here is. So the best way for me to do this is probably to have a little look at the code. So again, I don't work at Blast, so if I was a marketer in Blast or something like that, I would have access to some sort of brand guidelines or something like that, but I don't have that, so I'm going to have to play around. And so what I've done here is I just literally just went inspect, right-click inspect on anywhere on the page, and then what I'm looking for is, I literally just had it and now I lost it. What I'm looking for is a style that shows me the color. I literally just had it. Don't tell me it's gone. Oh god. I don't know where I clicked and it literally happened. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. I think I actually had it in my clipboard. Okay, so this is color 1, and what I can do is I want to do maybe have it full like that. That seems to be the way they do it anyway. Sorry about the chainsaw, it's starting again. I thought we stopped. So the gradient is quite good. They have this like background thing. We don't really have something like that here, so I'm not going to do that. But I could do. What's happening here? Okay, I could do. So that's done. Sorry, and then I could. Yeah, I could play around with this really if I wanted to, but I think it's nice like this. This is white, so I don't really want to do that. I'll keep it nice and simple. All right, next thing I want to do is obviously change these bubble colors. So what else do we have? So we have the launcher setting. So okay, one thing that's quite cool is that this little button has changed and adapted to the colors. The bottom color is obviously the color I chose here, and then the top color is a slightly transparent version of that, and this is done automatically, which is quite nice. Now what I might want to do is change this color here, obviously, because it's still pink, and so that's not ideal. So I can do that. Now if I was, I can have a look at that. What would this be called? Let's just go, I was going to go on Google. Blast Premiere, white logo? I don't know if they have a white logo. I think it might be fun. So this might be white. I can't tell, obviously. They have this orange looking or yellow looking logo. So that could be nice as well. I'm not going to do that now. I think this is fine for now. I was just going to say that I think blue on blue is kind of weird. I think it works well on the website, and it works quite well when it's open. But bottom right here, it's a bit plain. So what I might do is change the logo here for the actual bot into the yellow logo here, which looks quite cool. They don't have anything else that I can use. This blue seems to be a bit lighter, which would be quite nice. All right, so this is the launcher setting. So the launcher being obviously this little thing here. Call to actions. So I mentioned earlier that we need to have these little titles and subtitles to help the user, and a call to action could be quite nice as well. Call to actions is basically this little sentence here. So at the moment, it doesn't have a call to action yet. As you can see, it says no call to actions have been set up, and I can just add a new one. And so I could basically use this again. I could use the color here to make it obviously the same color, or I could try and make it stand out a bit. Oh, that's absolutely terrible. I can make it stand out, so that's the ubisend thingy. So I could just make it blue, for instance. What I would do here is I would basically create a new call to action that basically says, come and talk to me, or something like that. So that when people navigate the website, like here, for instance, let's say I'm navigating the website, I'm obviously looking straight ahead in the middle of the, if I had to draw a line, I would draw it like this, like I'm looking straight at the page. And so here, white on white background, in the bottom right of my screen, I might not really see it very well. Now, we don't at ubisend, we don't have a call to action on this bot, and this is something that we're basically testing at the moment. We used to not have one, and then we set up one, and engagement just shot up incredibly, which was really, really fun. And I'm basically running a short test at the moment to see if it was all a fluke or if engagement is going to go down again. And it's not conclusive yet, but I literally just started. So we're gonna set up another call to action soon. What I would say is I would encourage a call to action. I think it's just nicer if you don't have it in the bottom right here, which actually is a good point. I'm making all of this in the website blue. But if I put this here in the bottom right, it's going to be really, really impossible to see it. But for now, let's just leave it like that. I think if I were to actually have it on the page here, I would make it white or something like that. It could be quite nice. But if I make it white here, it's just going to look, yeah, because the platform is white, you won't be able to see anything. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to do a call to action anyway for now. I think that's fine. Call to actions are very, very good, but I quite like to build the bot first, know what I have, know what's working, know what's not working, and then I'll create call to action after that. All right, messaging colors. Okay, so obviously with the ubisend platform, we try to give you as much control as possible over pretty much everything within the platform and within your bot. And so here I can actually have full control over each color of each bubble. So left being obviously the bot answers, and on the right is the user input. Okay, so I think send message background color. So this is the right one, I would suppose. No, this is the left one. Okay, cool. So I think that's fine to make it blast colors. I think that would make a lot of sense. This is obviously the blast bot, and so it would make sense that the messages coming from that brand would be branded to their colors. Now I can play around with this a little bit. So obviously don't want to do that. Maybe this would actually looks quite nice. And then I can make the text color white maybe. I think that actually looks quite nice. If I look at their logo, this looks. If I could find out what this color is, I'd be actually quite interested to see. If we have a designer on the, might be this, might it? I don't know. Could be interesting to test. Let's see. Yeah, it might be that actually. Does that look like that? A little bit. But yeah, if I had a designer on hand, or if I had access to their guidelines, this would make it super simple to do. Okay, so this looks quite good. Blue, on brand, nice and simple. All right. Next thing I want to do is, do I want to set up avatars? So I typically don't personally like avatars. I think I see that a lot of people like them, but I personally don't necessarily like them because I feel like they take space on the chat window. I like the chat window to be quite wide and have a lot of space for later on we'll put videos or all sorts of cool, I don't know, message elements and things like that. And so what I quite like to have is I like to have this window to be set forever. I know exactly how wide that window is. I know exactly how it's going to look on my website, and I know exactly how every single message that comes through is going to look. Now, avatars are actually quite nice to use when you have a live chat fallback. So here, as you can see, there's a little robot avatar, which is quite nice. And basically what happens is if you set up a live chat fallback, which we might do in the future, so actually I might turn that on later on, you can actually have avatars for the humans. So let's say you have 3 people on your team who are likely to take over for your bot. You could have this little robot avatar whilst the bot is answering, and then once the live chat has taken over, you can actually turn these on and just like change your human avatars, as you can see here. So this is cool. I'm not going to do this for now. I think it's fine without it. I don't need it for now. And then finally the composer setting. So I basically add a composer here, which would I clicked the wrong thing. As you can see, it turns on this little hamburger menu here, which basically allows me to have quick links within the bot. I would always recommend doing that, particularly if you have a customer-facing bot, because it allows you to basically trigger conversations from one little click. And so if you have customers that might be, let's say, in a slightly negative mood, instead of talking to the bot and trying to figure out, where to put them in, this little button can actually just say like trigger live chat, and then it just triggers live chat straight away. Again, I'm not going to do that for now because I need to build the whole bots first to make sure that we have something to actually link here. But this is a really good option to have, and as you can see, it obviously follows the coloring scheme here. So that's good. All right, cool. So this is probably phase 1 of my bot. I've created a bot that looks like the brand that I'm going to build this for. So that's very exciting. So now I've just gone from instead of going into the Converse Widget settings, I've just gone into the demo. And here I can just quickly have a check, make sure that everything's okay. I can talk to the bot. So as you can see, my message came through as a blue message, a light blue message. The first time you talk to the bot, so it's going to take a bit of time to respond. And the colors are good. The first thing that says here is that welcome to your new chatbot. Here are some links to get you started. So this is going to take me to the documentation, which is quite nice. This is the ubisend documentation, so this is all into the ubisend platform. I can also link it from here, or I can also access it from here. So this is going to be very helpful for me. I can use this if I forget how to do things, which obviously quite frequently happens. I can use this, so you'll probably see me use this quite a lot. The second thing I can do is I can edit this welcome message. So obviously I don't want my bot to say, welcome to your new chatbot, here are some links to get you started. That wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to have to edit this, so this is what we're going to do in a bit. And then I can create a new conversation. So we would use the conversation builder to do that. One thing I've thought of, and Jacob, I won't be able to do this time, but next time I'll do this, is I can actually give you a public URL for this bot. So as I'm building it, what I'm going to basically get Jacob to do, or every now and then I'll drop it myself, is I'll drop the link to the bot in the chat. Unfortunately, right now I can't do that, but for next time, I'll do that. Actually, I might be able to do that. Let's see. This might hurt your brain because you'll see things. Okay, let's see. You might be able to access it here. This should work. So I just sent it. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm monitoring it to make sure that it's sending. All right, cool. One other thing I want to do before we move forward is I want to look at languages. So obviously the Blast Premier here is I don't know where they're based actually. They're based in Denmark and UK. So which languages would I want to have this in? I probably want to have this just as English, but it's quite worth knowing that we could use other languages. So obviously Deutsch and Dutch wouldn't really work for this one. Do we have Danish? Yes, we have Danish here available. So eventually I could turn this on as well, which would be quite fun. So that's quite nice as well. I could turn on the Danish version. I don't think they actually have a Danish version of their website. So this might be actually a complete moot point. But it's quite nice to know that this is possible. And so I could, what I could do is I could either add another language to this bot and have it run in Danish and English, or I could have both languages in the same bot. I could do that as well. I think for now I'm going to leave it in English just because it's probably the easiest way to do it. Okay, cool. So that's languages, that's colors. We've designed the bot. I'm going to have a little drink. That's sort of the first step done. All right, cool. So what do I need to do now? I need to start creating, as you can see, you have this first message, which is obviously not ideal. This is literally just for myself, for the people using the bot for the first time, or using the ubisend platform for the first time. I've received a message from Jacob saying that the demo link works. So if you want to go and talk to it, you should be able to see it. Try not to be rude to it. It hasn't done anything to you. It's a very nice bot, so you should be able to go and see it. Okay, so this is my message that just came through. So as you can see, it works perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and edit that first message. So if I go into Conversation Builder here, as you can see, there's I always talk about this, but we have 10 conversations that are pre-built. These are quite helpful. Some of them are locked. I can unlock them if I want to. They're basically locked to prevent you from doing random things to it if you don't quite know what you're doing to start with. But helpful to change this conversation. So I'm going to go and edit that. Cool. So this is the first conversation, or this is the only conversation that we have when a user first uses the bot. So this is the trigger for this specific conversation. So this is the conversation called "Welcome to your chatbot," and every single time that I go to demo here, this conversation is going to trigger, as you can see. Now, if I'm going to my bot here on ubisend, as you can see, we have a very similar bot, a conversation here. I'm going to just say hello, just as a test. So it's going to say hello back. Eventually, my internet is very slow. Okay, streaming and everything at the same time just makes everything slow. All right, cool. So now I've said hello, it said hello back, and then if I close it and I reopen it, as you can see, my conversation is still there. So eventually this message doesn't appear anymore if you've talked to the bot for a while, or if it's not the first time you come back. But it's worth having a conversation or a message that gets sent for the very first time that someone goes and talks to the bot. This helps navigate them to the right place within your bot. So you can send them to specific places. You can use it for promotion. You can use it for Gdpr compliance, which a lot of people do in Europe, and we'll probably have to do it here. But this is the important thing to remember here, and this is something I try to hammer home to most of our users, is that this trigger here, when user first uses the bot, should only be used once across all of your conversations. So you can use, we can have a look at the conversations here, the conversation triggers. Here, when all of the following conditions are met, if the user first uses the bot, that's the conversation trigger. Okay. So what I want to make sure is obviously that this this is only used once across all of the other conversations and across all of the other transitions. Because if I have one conversation that starts with this trigger and another conversation that starts with this trigger, when someone actually uses the bot for the first time, what's going to happen is it basically implodes. So it doesn't actually implode, so don't worry about that, but it's just going to struggle to find which one to put the user in, and that's usually when you have problems. And so user first uses the bot. This is good. What we can have a look at is basically this whole drop down here. Shows us basically, I mean, we've added some again. My go-to number was 60 events, but I think we've added quite a few more recently. But basically every single conversation starts with a trigger. If you've attended any of our webinars before, you should know this. And this is the trigger for this specific conversation. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this message so that we have a starting point for this conversation. So what I'm going to do is, I debated this a little bit, and it might be worth knowing what you guys think about this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a GDPR compliant first message. And the reason for this is as I was navigating through the bottom of their website, is they're in Denmark and in the UK, and chances are that they'll have to comply to some sort of rules to say, okay, whilst you use this bot, there's a chance that we're going to capture information from you. As we discussed at the very start of the stream, we will try and capture data from people because they'll sign up to actually get like emails and offers and things like that. And so we want to make sure we're compliant to this. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of this. We don't need any of this. So we have loads and loads of message types that we could use. I'm not going to use anything very specific. I think I'll use a quick reply. Yeah, I might use a quick reply. So quick replies basically allows me to have text here, and then it allows me to have buttons like this, and that's quite helpful. So it's a bit between quick replies and actions. So actions is fairly similar, except the buttons are much bigger, and you can do more with the buttons. So the buttons can actually be a direct link to the website. So what do I want to do? Yeah, I'll do an action button. So here I'm not gonna give you a lesson on GDPR. So I'm just gonna type something that I think would be all right. But this absolutely is not obviously legal advice. I'm just typing something random. Welcome to the. Actually, I'm gonna do something different. Here we go. So I'm going to do welcome to the Blast Premier Chatbot. Point. You must agree to the GDPR policies below. Okay, so obviously this is not a GDPR compliant message. You would have to do something a lot better than this. If you get stuck on this, you can always ask us. We can point you in the right direction. But I can save this. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and if I go in here, and if you go in the link that I provided earlier, as you can see, this message has completely changed. So I have welcome to the Blast Premier Chatbot. Before we start, you must agree to the GDPR policies below. Okay, so this is good. Means we have something started here. What I'm going to do is a few little tweaks that I think are really, really good for usability. So the first tweak that I'm going to do is I'm going to add buttons to this specific message. So I want to basically let people say, read the policies, and I'm going to put a link. So do they have a policy? Here we go, privacy policies. So this is probably what I would want to point these people to. So I can put this here, and then I'm going to do postback buttons, which is going to be agree to the policies, which is just going to be agree to policies. All right, cool. So by doing this now, what I have is obviously this message is going to be changed. Welcome to the Blast Premier Chatbot. Before we start, you must agree to the GDPR policies below. So now, if I click this, it's going to take me to their privacy policies, which is very important. You need to make sure that you actually give the user an opportunity to read these policies. You can't just make them agree to them without anything. And then I can click agree, which is basically just going to send this message. Now nothing's going to happen because obviously I haven't created anything, so the bot's just going to be like hi. But we'll get to that later. The next thing I'm going to do for usability, and this is actually quite cool, is I'm going to turn off user input. So again, going back to this, so let's say let's say this bot was fully built, and I could ask a question like, I want to sign up to your newsletter. Now, obviously, I haven't said anything for this, so this is not going to answer. So it's not understanding. So I could actually have things here. If I could type as a user without agreeing to the policies, there's a chance that the user will bypass this agreement, and therefore we'll have an issue there, because that means that the users can actually join my newsletter without having agreed to the GDPR policies, and that's obviously a very bad thing. So what I can do here is I can go and basically turn off this send a message section. So this is a field that you have complete control over. This doesn't happen in most Chatbot platforms, I'll tell you right now. You don't usually have access to this. What you can do with ours is, with ubisend, is it's pretty mind-blowing really when you think about it. So you can do things, very simple things, like message content. I can go here and I can go, composer. So the composer is the little thing at the bottom, and as you can see here it says message. But I can change that to all sorts of preset things. So I can do a feedback composer, I can do a loading composer, which is basically going to show, I can actually turn that on. I can show you what this looks like. We definitely don't want to use that for here. But as you can see, now it says loading, please wait. And so this could be helpful if you have, I don't know, some API connection that needs to happen and might take a little bit of time. But for now, this is not what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to prevent the user from being able to type anything. So I know that it's a bit contradictory or a bit surprising, because obviously with the chatbot you want people to engage. But what we really want to do here is we want to prevent users from bypassing this policy requirement. And so I can change this composer to not deactivate, hidden. Alright, and now if I save this, I can go into demo, and as you can see I can't type anything. So now I can't bypass this, I need to accept the policies. And by agreeing to the policies, I'll be able to move forward, and as you can see that the send message is back. So that's a good step forward. I have this set up now, this is going to be good. This allows me to basically get the users to agree to the policies and then move forward. Alright, so what do I want to do next? I want to probably do, what do I want to think about? I probably want to do a bit of promotion. So if I land on their website, what happens first? What is it that they talk about? So they obviously talk about the news, which is quite cool. They talk about the upcoming events, and they obviously share the shop. They have a nice video, so we could use that. I've seen a really cool video on their YouTube channel, which could be quite fun. So what I'm going to do is, when people accept to the policies, I'm going to say, welcome video. I'm going to say, when a message is sent that is equal to, I forgot what it was called, agree to policies, I'm going to basically send one message that's like, welcome to the Glass Premier Chatbot. Oops, I saved this. I'm going to add another message under this. So let's quickly check this first. Okay, so that was the post back. So I'm just going to quickly check that that's the right one. Yep, I think so. So I'm starting to work a little bit quicker now, because obviously this needs to move forward. So I just need to make sure that I'm actually creating something here. And so the transitions here help me basically go from the first message, which shouldn't really be welcome to your chatbot, should be, what's it called? Gdpr requirement. So this name is absolutely just internal, so I can just turn that on. I can change that. It's just for me later on to figure out like what's going on. And then what I can do is I can change this copy here a little bit. I can delete that maybe, so that we don't say welcome twice, because that's a bit silly. So let's go back to the demo, see what happened. Okay, so the first message has changed. We still don't have any input. I can say agree to the policies. Cool, great. Welcome to the Blast Premier Chatbot. Okay, so we have our first interaction basically, so that's very cool. I want to do is I want to basically share. I think that video is quite cool.
What does it mean to be godful?
See it very well, but it's
Being
it's
godlike
so
isn't
that's the
given,
game.
it's
So
taken.
what I can do is I can go to that video and I can see if I can grab the link to it. And what I'll do is I'll change this and add maybe a video link. So I could say composer doesn't matter, video URL, and save that. Okay. Let's see what happens when we do that. Agree to the policies. Nice. Okay, cool. So now I can watch this video in the bot itself, which is quite cool. So the users don't you don't have to send them to a link which goes to YouTube and
Does
then
it
they get
fall from
distracted
the
by
sky?
all this and right, and then you lose your
If
users.
becoming
But you want
godlike is
obviously
beyond
keep
our
the user
control,
engaged in the bot. So
how
now
do
they
they
can actually
keep
watch
doing it?
this interaction.
Hitting every
Straight
impossible
which is
shot.
quite cool. And now the next thing I want to do, and we'll probably wrap up around that, is I want to again give some sort of indication to the user about what they can actually talk about to the bot. So still working with the welcome to your chatbot conversation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to edit this message. Yeah, I'm going to edit this message. And what do I want to say? So I want to probably say something like, talk to me about, XYZ. So we can probably reuse the thing that we had at the start. So we can add a new message here. After you watched this banging video, I'm going to talk like a youth, which is quite cringe, but whatever. I'm going to change that. That's terrible. Talk to me. Ask me about. Can't type. Hopefully you can't hear my keyboard too much. Maybe Jacob, you can give me an indication. Talk to me about our events. What did I say? Events, teams, giveaways, and more. All right, I can edit this. Cool. Demo. Let's go through this again. All right. You must agree to blah blah blah. Read the policies. Sends me to the policies. Perfect. I can't type anything, so I can't bypass it. This doesn't do anything. I can reset the bot, which is cool. Okay, let's agree to the policies. Ask me about our events and etc. So obviously I've promoted this piece of content here, which is quite good. And now I can basically start asking about this thing. So tell me about your events. And of course, there's nothing here to actually tell the user about because we didn't build anything. So that's the next thing that we're going to do. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left. What can I do in 10 minutes? I can probably go through the FAQs a little bit. So to give you a bit of context, so the ubisend platform is basically set up in two different sections. The first section is this processized conversational builder. So the builder where I was here earlier is basically allowing me to create processes in a conversational manner that will work almost from a flow perspective. So if the user says this, they go there. If the user clicks this button, they go there, etc., etc. So it's very processized. It's absolutely incredible piece of software for replicating processes that your team or people might do, every day, copy pasting things and just like first click here, then click there, etc. So all of this can be automated with this part of the platform. The next part of the platform is the FAQs, and the FAQs is essentially the knowledge base of your bot. That's where you give it all of the knowledge that it needs to have to be able to answer questions like the one I just sent. And so that's important to really flesh out quite a lot. In this instance, what I want to do is I want to obviously have questions around events. I want to have questions around the teams. I want to have questions around ranking. I want to have questions around giveaways. I want to have questions around maybe generating, signing up to the newsletter. I want to have questions around watching the streams, all that sort of stuff. So, all right. So at the moment, as you can see, I have nothing in here. So I have FAQs, and there's absolutely nothing in here. So we could basically start creating this. So what do we want to start testing or creating? So the first thing I think I'm going to create is something around what, the events. So what are the next events available? Next events. Okay, I'm going to give this a category, and I'm going to give this category of events. This is going to appear in a minute. What are the next blast events? When are the next blast events? And one other way to say this, tell me about the next blast events. Alright, cool. So what I've done here is I've basically given the FAQ a name, I've given it a category, I've given it 3 ways of asking the same question, and I can just hit create. Alright, and so now I'm taken to the next phase of the FAQ creation, which is basically, obviously, we need to provide an answer. So if you were here from the start, you'll realize that obviously I can use these things that we talked about earlier. So we can use quick replies with buttons, could use actions with more bigger buttons, we can use general types, which allows me to have messages. I can use a carousel, which is quite cool. I can basically add more things. As you can see, I can navigate between all of them. I can just do an image. We've used the video content earlier. I can use content, which we're not going to go into too much just now. I can do progress, we can do payments, and we can do events. Cool. So what I'm going to do is basically have a look at how they display this. So let's try and replicate this. So they obviously have an event section here. So I'm going to have a quick look at that. Okay, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events. Okay, so they have obviously one that's February 4th, and that one's done. So the next events will be April 13th, June 15th, August 26th. Alright, so what I can do is I might use a carousel, because that I think would look quite cool, because I can really recreate this. So I can just do, does this have a specific, okay, they all have a specific event button as well, which is quite cool. So they all have a specific event page. So this would be this link, and then the title would be this one, wouldn't it? So it's going to look a bit odd. I think I'll change the copy here. Premiere Spring Showdown. Yeah, I spelled that right. Cool. And then I'll use the dates as the subtitle here, because that's quite cool. It's going to look quite nice. Yep, perfect. And then I'll use that link again as book your ticket. Okay, so that's one. I obviously want to add a picture. So they had nice pictures on this previous page. Can I find that page or that image? I think. There you go. So I'm just going to use this image for now. Can I find that? Yep. Alright, I'll save this image. And I'll change this. Choose image. Let's see if I can grab that. Spring Showdown. Alright, let's use that. Okay, cool. That's looking sick. Alright, obviously this is a carousel. So what I want to do is I want to have more options, and this is perfect because we have obviously loads more, well, not loads more, but we have more events coming. So we have a Spring Final, so this was the Spring Showdown, so we can add a new one, which is right here. And this one we're going to call Spring Final. I'm going to maybe follow the same thing. Okay, last Spring Final. Subtitles, so we want to have the dates again. So when's this final? It's June 15th. Again, I can have a look. Dates. It's not the same format, which is quite annoying. I'll go on that page. Let's just steal that. And then this is the link, so obviously you want to have that. Book your tickets. So again, this is a customer service bot, or something that's going to help users, customers, potential customers, but this doesn't mean that you can't make some money from this. So in this instance, what I'll do is I'll basically use the opportunity of the question to get potential customers to my event, which is quite nice. Is this gonna work? No, it's probably JPEG. Perfect. All right, save this. I'm gonna call this 2, just so I can find it. Choose image. I'm gonna grab this and this one. Perfect. So now I have these 2 events coming. Perfect. Did I put a link to this? No, I did not. All right. Let's save this for now and see what happens. Okay, I can exit this now. All right. So what have I done? I've basically created my first FAQ here. So the name of the FAQ is Next Events. So this is going to help me from a usability perspective when I'm trimming down on the content that we have within the bot, or if I need to go back and edit this message, I can find that quite easily. The other thing I've done is I've created a category, and categories are really important because again you can trim down. Obviously now we only have one FAQ, so this category is just going to show the exact same thing. But basically this allows me, if I had 200, 300, 400, 1,000 FAQs, I could trim. I could just filter down to the category. I can do the same with the event name, the FAQ name if I wanted to. Obviously here I only have one, so this doesn't really matter that much. Questions. So I've written a few ways of asking the same question. So they're here. I can duplicate these. If I had more languages activated, I could actually write the equivalent in Danish or whatever it was that we talked about earlier. And then what I could do as well is I could add more versions here. If I thought all of a sudden that I had another idea of how to write this, I could ask more version. And then finally, I created the answer to this, which is obviously just this bit of the conversation. Now, what I'm going to do is quickly before ending this, I'm going to quickly have a look and see if this is all working. There's a chance that it might not because I literally just created it. So sometimes the bot needs to check for a little bit of time because that's obviously the whole purpose of the bot. So this is the entire conversation we went through. I'm going to just send that message. And okay, so that worked perfectly. So, all right, I just landed on this bot. Let's go through the user experience here. I landed on this bot. I landed on this website, and I just want to go and ask where I landed on the Blast Premier's Facebook page. And all right, cool. I need to agree to this. Yeah, no problem. Cool. Hey, welcome to the bot. Okay, great. I can watch this video if I wanted to.
What
That's
does it
quite nice.
mean to be
If I really
godlike?
was a fan of this game, this would help me out a little bit.
To be
It's quite nice.
untouchable.
Okay, I can ask about events. What I'm really interested in is obviously asking about events because that's when I get to watch my favorite players game. So what are the next events for the next Blast events? Okay, so Blast is telling me that we have a spring event showdown which starts in April, so that's quite soon, I guess, in a couple of months. Or there's one which is the finals in June. So what I could say is, okay, well, what are the prices here? Okay, I can go straight to the page. I can potentially book tickets. So now obviously I can't book tickets because you can't actually physically go to any of these. But I could actually add more buttons here. If let's say now it's the 23rd of February. So what I could do is, if it's closer to the date, maybe what I'll have is I'll already have live links to the streams, for instance. And so I could basically go into the FAQ, and so here I'm editing the first one. What I can do is I can add a button here and just say, as you can see here, you can watch it on YouTube, for instance. Copy link. Watch live stream. Let's see, I'm going to try and write this like a normal human. Watch the live stream, and I can add a link here to this, which is cool. And then I can do the next one similar. So I'm going to do a link. Watch on YouTube. Perfect. I can save that. I can add another one, which is like watch on Twitch. Some people prefer Twitch, some people prefer YouTube, so I can have this link in here. Oops, this isn't what I wanted to do. What am I doing? Copy link. Here we go. Okay, so I could do that. So that's a bit odd because now I have one button, one card that has 3 buttons and one that only has 2. So I'm just going to go back and do the other one as well. Watch Cool. I can save this. Very nice. So if I go back to this, grab this message, and go through, oops, I didn't want to read the policies, I just want to agree to them. I realize it's a bit past the hour, but it's okay, we're rolling now. Okay, so I'm sending this message, and now obviously the message, the button has, the message, the response has changed immediately. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that all of the changes you'll make to your bot will appear immediately within your bot. So that's really cool. So if now was the April 18th right now, and tomorrow this is no longer, or sorry, we were like the 13th of April, and we need to remove this card because this is no longer an upcoming event, it's an event that's happening right now. I could go into that message super quickly. Again, I have access to these filters which allow me to do that. Quickly go to events. Alright, cool, this is the one. I'll go to the answer, delete this whole card, add another card, change the dates, change everything. So this is all incredibly simple to use. Okay, so I've given you the link to the bot, so hopefully some of you have gone and talked to it, so you can test it. I don't know if I got any feedback on that, but if I did, I'll have a little look. I'll have a chat with Jacob about it. But this is probably where I'm going to leave it for now. So what we've done is we've created a brand new account into the ubisend platform. We've created we've sort of designed it a little bit, so we have obviously our nice logo here in the top left, but more importantly we have our bot that's looking really cool. We did all of this through the Converse widget here, so we have the nice widget in the bottom right, we have the nice design of the conversation, everything's nice and pretty. We've edited the first conversation to make sure that it's Gdpr compliant. We've used a couple of different message types. So we've used a message type here, which is the action message type with big buttons. We've used videos, which is quite cool, and then we've created an FAQ, which I don't know what this is. Oh, this is my sandbox link. We've created an FAQ around what are the next blast events, which is sending us a nice cards, a nice carousel of links. And this is pretty much where we want to end, I think, for now. Next week, I think what I'll basically work on is I'll add a whole bunch more FAQs, I think. So there's obviously stuff around events. What I might do is have a look at, can we buy tickets to these? Probably not, because obviously you can't really attend. But maybe we can answer questions around like, what is the prize pool for the Spring Showdown? Or what are the teams that are going to the Spring Showdown? That sort of stuff. We can do that sort of stuff next week. I might do things around the team rankings, I think could be quite nice. So I won't stay too much into just events, because it's quite nice to see the differences between the different FAQs and how the bot interacts with that. And then we'll spend some time training the bot. So I haven't gone through this at all today. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that we could do, which we'll go into in a bit. But yeah, hopefully that was insightful. See you next week for another episode of this. If you would like to be alerted for when we go live, you can obviously just subscribe to the channel. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And if not, just know that 1 o'clock UK time every week will be I'll be building this bot. Cool. All right. Thank you all.